Assistance. 6 out.
Signal coordinates corrupted. Approximate transmission origin recorded to data bank. The Aurora suffered orbital hull failure. Cause unknown. 0 human life signs detected.
Hello guys, and welcome back. This is Subnautica. This is the patch notes for the update 1.0.0.29 released yesterday. The Subnautica actually just released these patch notes 14 hours ago on their website, the Unknown Games website, and their Twitter and things like that. A much shorter patch note list than what we did yesterday with Fallout 76. This one will be much easier to get through. It's 2.2 gigabytes for Xbox. I don't know what it is for PC or PlayStation. Usually the consoles are about the same. PC maybe a little bit less or a little bit more, depending on what they fix. But it's 2.2 for us Xbox folk. So the number, we'll get started right into it. The first bulletin point in, or the first sentence in the patch notes is Subnautica on Xbox One has just received an update. Point 29 should end the scourge of missing resources and slightly improved performance. The last couple probably updates, I haven't really noticed there have been bad performance. I've got a 1X, so I mean it's a little bit better than the others, but I haven't really noticed any kind of performance issues at all. It's been almost perfectly smooth. I'm getting in and out of your containers, your boxes, things like that, and there's no lag. For me at least, there's no lag at all. I even actually, this clip that I played this morning, I changed the light filter to the filmic, whatever it is, to make it a little bit darker, make it a little bit more dramatic. I think I changed it back at nighttime because it does get kind of hard to see. All right, back to the list. We got fixed an issue causing fish and resources to sometimes not load into the world. So I guess things were just invisible and you couldn't see resources or school of fish. Pre-warming of managed heap to reduce expansion stalls is the next one. Increase of object pool counts. So I would imagine that where things spawn or where things are, there are more of them. Object pools are increased. Optimized animations to cull when not visible, and I would imagine that would be to save resources on your PC or PS4 or Xbox, your RAM and your CPU and stuff like that, to save its resources when you're not looking at something. It's not rendering it in as well as it could be, to save the performance resources. The next one is optimize bubbles and fix multi-pop issue. So that sounds like bubbles will only pop once. Again, we're back to normal popping bubbles. Optimize rigid bodies and optimize mesh streaming order. So I think those are terrain and graphic optimizations make things look a little bit smoother, and that is the entire list. It wasn't more than, I mean, a dozen items there. They do go on to say, we know that you're experiencing some pretty severe bugs at the moment. Point 29 fixes quite a few issues, but there is more work to be done. We're still cranking on further updates. Unfortunately, resources will not respawn in areas you have already visited in saved games. To get a full resource spawn, you will need to start a new game. We are tremendously sorry for this inconvenience, and we know it is unacceptable. We're working our butts off to make future updates better. Sometimes I like how they talk. They talk like we're people. You know, it's kind of like talking to one of your friends or something like that. It's not really. It's not the generic computer voice. It's not like talking to Siri, trying to have a conversation. Sometimes it is. I mean, you can. It's almost like you're sitting in the same room with these guys talking to them. But that's not good news. So if you are just a casual gamer, a casual player, and you want to stay in one spot, stay in the shallows, and just build a base, just PvE, kind of have a good time and just never beat the game. You never have to. Just constantly collect resources, build a huge base, have fun with it. Like Ark or Rust or well, I was going to say Subnautica, but this is Subnautica. Like the survival games out there, Fallout 76, you don't actually have to beat it. You can just maintain your game, or maintain your base and stuff, the things you have. So, but if you do that, the point of that statement was, if you do that, you might run out of resources because they don't respawn. I mean, how many times you save and come back and save and come back, or leave the area for hours and hours and remove bases and come back to the spot you liked, they won't come back. And they stated, we're sorry for this inconvenience and we know it is unacceptable. So that's not a, we're looking into it. They're like, no, we also believe that resources should respawn so you can maintain your base and you can maintain, living where you want to live in the environment. So they realize that. So I would imagine that's something they're going to change so we can get our resources to spawn where they need to. Thank you for all your feedback and bug reports. Every time you report a saved game error, dropped frame rate, or missing resources, it helps us gauge what we need to be working on. So yeah, I have read comments and things like that in different forums and stuff that the bug reporting option, I didn't actually check it out. I didn't try it when I played this morning. I totally forgot. But I was told, not I was told, but I've read, the word is on the grapevine that that the bug reporting does not work. So how do you report that the bug reporting doesn't work? I would imagine they would notice that all of a sudden they're not gaining any bug reports from Xbox anymore, or the consoles if it's a console-wide bug. So I would assume they would be able to probably figure that out pretty quickly, or people can tell them on Twitter and things like that. But that is the patch notes. That's it. That's the whole thing. The size of it, the part of it, the parts, the pieces and parts of the actual update, and then their little feedback there, their little comments on it. But it does say, I did read a couple of people are saying that you do need to start a new game to do this. So kind of like DayZ, in order to progress, you have to lose everything. Darkest Before the Dawn, you got to give up all your stuff. In order to get the new stuff, you gotta give up the things you've done. So if you're playing on an old save, I don't think this stuff takes effect, because I was playing on a save from a few days ago, and I swear stuff was respawning. I was picking up different materials and things like that, titanium and stuff like that I know for a fact I previously picked up, and that was just a few days ago. So I wonder if this new update made it so you can't pick things up. I'm not really sure what they were doing. I never seem to come across the same problems that everybody else does. I don't know why. When I read that there are tons and tons of issues, I come across a few of them. Actually, in the video, you can see that the hatch in the Cyclops is invisible. You can't actually see it. It opens and closes. You can interact with it, but you can't see it. And yeah, I mean, there's a few bugs like that where you fall through the floor. And I snipped out probably about 10 minutes of this video just for me falling. I wanted to see how far I could go. They removed the command console and the debug console, and the dev team, whatever that was, that option in the pause menu where you could open up the dev menu and have just your basic cheats. But yeah, I mean, I fell about like 8,500 meters, and then I respawned in the middle of nowhere, just between the life pod and where I was. So I had to walk all the way back. Not a big deal. I didn't really mind. It's not, not a terrible thing. It was only a few hundred meters, but that's a huge bug. That's a massive bug. If I wasn't in creative mode, that would have destroyed my Cyclops, or my prawn suit rather. So that's a game-breaking bug, because you never know when you're going to fall through the floor. You never know. I've built prawns. I know that it is tough to gather the materials. It takes hours and hours and hours of grind to get those things. If you lose it because of that, and you didn't save it 30 seconds prior, you're in trouble. You just lost your prawn suit. So it's stuff like that that's kind of not annoying. Annoying is a really strong word, because it's not. I'm not frustrated. I'm not mad. But it's stuff like that. Why with these updates do new problems, worse problems, always seem to cultivate? They always seem to come out of nowhere. Falling through the terrain, I've never seen that before. Why, after the game is released, is that a bug? That's an alpha bug, or a beta bug. That is not a full release bug. And the fact that that wasn't in, for me at least, that wasn't in alpha or beta. I've been here since the start. I've had this game. I've owned this game for years. I've had this game since probably a couple months after it came out, and I've never fallen through the ground. Never gone through the ground. Never. I mean, every once in a while you kind of go through a wall, a cave wall or something, but I've never gone through the ground like that. And it's like I said. Like I said, you're going to lose your prawn suit. I could have gotten out. I could have swam to I probably could have swam to the ground, up to the top of the surface again, the surface of the sand. But I would have lost my prawn suit had I not been in creative mode. It would have just destroyed. I would have died, lost my inventory, and then respawned back, and I would have had to swim back to my base. So yeah, it's. I'm just thinking. I'm like, why are these problems still here? Why is this still a thing? And not only why is it still a thing, why are new problems like this arising when we should be well past stuff like falling through the floor? That's beta stuff. I do love this game. I've got hundreds of hours. I mean, I've probably got 300, 400, 500 hours in this game, if not more than that. And I just play it casually. I just play it for fun. When I feel like it, I don't play it hardcore to win or whatever. I just play it just like this, just for fun. Kind of build some stuff, play it for a couple hours, get off, play something else. I kind of want to build something again, get back on, play it again. So I'm not a hardcore Subnautica guy, but I've got a handful of hundreds of hours, and I really, really do enjoy it, and I will always play it. But it does get frustrating, and I think that's what people think about Fallout 76 and GTA and Red Dead. Is there shouldn't be the problems that there are. There is always going to be problems. There are problems from N64, GameCube, PlayStation. Every console ever has problems. But game-breaking bugs that are introduced after full release, which we have seen in the last year, multiple games do that. That's not something that should be a thing. Speaking of the console commands, though, I think that I read that there is rumor on the grapevine again that they are potentially bringing back console commands, which would be awesome. Just the debug commands, like if say you fall through the floor, or if you lose your prawn suit by falling to hell through the sand, you don't have to go get an Owen. Just spawn a new one in, turn the blind eye and just go, no, that never happened. I've had this one the whole time. Things like that. So that'd be awesome to be able to do that. I also noticed, as I'm just building this base just for fun, I was just seeing how the graphics were, because it said there were a couple performance patches and things like that. I was just looking at where it was as to what I remember. I don't record a ton of Subnautica, so I don't have a lot to go on. I just remember what it used to look like, and I kind of remember what it used to glitch and, snag every once in a while when you were playing. It just kind of stop in certain spots. And I noticed that it really doesn't do that anymore. I mean, I think the performance is excellent. I think it is far better than it was a month ago, 2 months ago. So I really think they made massive progress with that. A couple of the bugs that I noticed just in this gameplay are ones that have kind of persisted. And like I said, this is a new game, creative mode, new game this morning, December 12th at 9 a.m. this morning. The patch was released yesterday. I downloaded the patch, or the update, and I just came out and did this video this morning. And I still noticed some bugs that have been there forever. One of my favorites is the thermal knife. If you're standing in your base or on the beach or whatever, and your thermal knife, you pull that out, it's still bubbling. It's bubbling like you're underwater. That's always been one of my favorites because that's kind of goofy. I think I said it before, the invisible Cyclops hatch to get to your submersible, whether it be the prawn suit or the sea moth, that hatch is invisible. You can interact with it. You can open and close it, and it'll lift you up if you're on it, but you can't see it, which is kind of weird. It just kind of looks out of place having just an open gap there above your submersible. And I noticed it when this save I played probably 30-45 minutes just to kind of putz around and see what the new update was all about. I noticed it yesterday when I was playing this. Then I downloaded the update, and I didn't notice it in this gameplay, but I didn't really do it a lot of times. That the Cyclops and the prawn suit, when you put the prawn suit up in the bay of the Cyclops, it was all wonky. I mean, it was off. It crashed. It made the game unplayable. I had to quit and come back probably 3 times yesterday. It didn't happen today when I played, but I didn't. I only docked the prawn suit once or twice, so I really didn't test it out. I should have done it repeatedly just to see if it would always do it, get a good feel for it. But it didn't do it this morning, and it did it like crazy yesterday. I had to quit the game probably 3 times, and I just stopped playing because it got kind of annoying. But it crashed. I mean, it literally, you heard the animation of you getting out, but there was nothing there. It didn't let you do anything. It was just a frozen screen, you half in and half out of the prawn, and that was it. So you were just stuck. You couldn't bring up the start menu. You couldn't do anything. So yeah, I mean, other than that, there's really not. Well, the terrain bug that I've seen comments on still, and this is one that goes back to alpha, the beta phase, is when you're on, say you're way over at the islands or you're way over in deep ocean, you can look around at night. You can look around and see the windows, the little tiny windows of your base. Through all the terrain, through all the stuff, you can always see where your base is, which has helped me tremendously. Oh my god, I don't even know how many times I would have been lost if I don't know how many times I would have been lost if I couldn't find that. But it's still not right. It's still a glitch. It's still, I wouldn't say cheating because we're not doing it on purpose, but it's still cheating to find your way back home when you need to make a beacon or have a vehicle there with a beacon on it, to make it more realistic. To be able to see the windows or the insides of your base from miles away and always find your way home through terrain, through caves, through the ocean, it's just not right. That just doesn't seem right. So that's another bug that's been there since the beginning. I remember that from, I even reported that a few times. I've reported a handful of these bugs a few times, and they always say they're getting to it, and I trust them. I want to trust them. I want them to get to it, but I just hope it's sooner than later, because after a while, people just kind of aren't gonna care anymore. They're just gonna be like, yeah, whatever. We'll take it for what it is. Get around to it when you get around to it, and that's not a position you want to be in. You don't want to get complacent. You always want the developer to strive for the best, and I really do. The way they talk online, the way they talk on their forums and stuff like that, they seem like they're a bunch of bros sitting in the office and like, listen guys, we gotta get this done. We gotta do this. The Unknown Worlds lab or whatever it is. Like we gotta get this done and make the people that paid for this game happy. And you don't get that with a lot of games. There are a handful of games out there, not to name a few because we're not talking about those, but there are a handful of games out there that just don't do that. They're like, okay, how are we gonna improve our in-game shop, or how are we gonna make sure that works over the rest of the game, or how are we gonna add microtransactions, or how are we gonna add skins, or whatever. I mean, you notice with Subnautica, I've never seen new weapon skins. I've never seen new anything. You've always been able to paint your vehicles. That's been from day one. Change the color of your vehicles and stuff like that. But they didn't add chrome or gold your construction wand there. They didn't add new knives or anything like that, because that's not what they're focused on. They're a small group of guys, developers, guys and girls. They're a small group of developers that are getting the job done. They say, we got to get this done. Let's focus on the stuff that matters. They're not microtransactions. They're not looking to sell a big, Ultimate Edition Subnautica thing. They've got add-ons. They got DLCs, but the core game is the priority. And in all these updates, I mean, it's been a couple years, but in all these updates, it's a massive change. I mean, if you've played this game a couple years ago and you come today and play the game, it's night and day. It's like playing an N64 and then getting on an Xbox. It's a night and day difference. It's playable. The graphics are 10 times better, 16 times the detail. It's just, it's just a night and day difference. And I'm happy as to where this is going. I really want to see Subnautica do well, because I enjoy playing the game. So to see it do well only makes it better for us. But anyway, that's the list. That is the patch notes. That is everything. All my thoughts as of right now. I think I'm going to continue to play this game a little bit and see if there's any more little bugs that might need addressing or might need pointing out, or we just don't care about the ones that really don't matter. But I think I've covered everything that is needed, that was released in the 1.0.0.29 release yesterday afternoon. The 2.2 gigabyte update for Xbox. I don't know about PlayStation or PC. It doesn't say it on here. This only just says Xbox, but that covers the whole thing. And I think I've talked long enough again, and I will see you guys next time.